the problem of capturing information. We on the go, we on the car, we are for a walk and we get an insight. We want to jot this down. Okay, where do I place this? Maybe you have a note-taking app to write this down. Boom. Then you're listening to a podcast. Insight. Where do I store this? Where do I link to the podcast? I get a phone call from somebody who gives me an amazing idea. Where do I place this? And the problem here is that people don't realize that this is the capturing process of the note-taking. And what they do, they instantly try to organize it. And this gives us anxiety. If it takes you more than a second to think about where to store any information that comes at you, it will take even longer to retrieve this information later on. And this unclarity about storage of information, retrieval of information also leads to scattered information in different applications and physical paper and many things that comes with this. So I guarantee after this video, you will have a complete different mindset about how to capture information, how to organize it and how to retrieve it later on. And the most important thing, how we can make information actionable. So let's dive in. This is the capture process I just mentioned, where we capture any information. Where do we place it? Up to now, I always was trying to move things into Heptabase all the time. I was using Tana previously in combination with Heptabase for exactly this reason, as capturing was so much easier in Tana than it was in Heptabase. And you know, by not understanding the tool agnostic underlying processes going on, you don't understand why you start using all these different tools. You try to fix symptoms, but you're not curing the disease. So here, this is where I was aware that I have a lot of friction going on when it comes to Heptabase. But what people do, they not only store things in tools like Heptabase or Obsidian or whatever you use, they also try to make directly action on it. So they get this idea, that's amazing, I write it down, and then they immediately sink in 1, 2, 3 hours into this idea until they realize they haven't got done what they planned out for the day, just all due to a stupid idea that might be no longer relevant in the end of the day or the next day. So that's why it's so important that we decouple the process of capturing information from organizing this information, because you will be also in a complete different state of mind. And that's where the beautiful inbox comes into play. Yes, many out there don't understand why an inbox is necessary, but if you look at most of the successful productivity tools, they all have inboxes, but nobody tells you how to use them properly. And that's what we will do in this video. People connect inbox mainly with email inboxes, and you will see processing an email inbox will work the same as we process our PKM inbox. Inboxes are our friends because they keep us on track, they give us clarity, and I will show you in this video too how you can stay on top of your inboxes effortlessly, and you will never miss getting to inbox 0 anymore. Okay, so now you see we have the capturing process. I see a video that takes 2 hours and I want to watch this video. So I want to store this, but I don't want to forget to watch it later. That's where you need to realize the different types of information, but also different types of action. Because if I want to watch something, there's a verb in there, and therefore it needs action, and action always needs to get planned out, otherwise it never gets done. And we will get to this in a moment. But right now we found this video, we capture it and move it to the inbox, and it's sitting there, and I can call it a day because I'm in control that in the future I will go to the inbox and I will process this later. Before that, I found the video and I thought, okay, where do I place this now in Heptabase? I need to think about this in my tool. How can I find this later on, and so on. And then you place it somewhere, and this goes on with more and more information because you never have time to check your PKM system. And this leads to cluttered PKM systems of information that you will never look up again. And even worse, if you do this in your task management tool, that's what people do too. They move this into TickTick or Todoist or any other things, where they just store it there and it sits there for even years, where they keep moving this from week to week with the due date. And that's crazy. And that's what we will get rid of today. So now we have this video sitting in our inbox. Let's say this happened on day 1, and on day 2 we are actually organizing it. Okay, so this means on day 2 I will have this organized into the right place. This is a whole other video where we can talk about the My Life concept, where we have the key elements and the topics and the My projects. It makes it very easy to organize this later on, but let's keep things high level for this video. Now we have this processing step, and this allows us to think much better about what is actually going on with this video, something that we cannot properly think about while we are capturing it on the go. So being back up on my desk, I can think it this way, all right? It's sitting in my inbox, and on day 2, I think about, is this actually something that stays there as a reference, or is it something that I actually need to get done? And as I said, it's a 2-hour video I want to watch here, so it needs to have action. 2 hours of a day. This takes time. I have to plan it out, otherwise I will never watch this video if it is crucial for my business or anything like that. So in this case, I will move it into action. I need to watch this video. So what is action? So here is the moment where we decouple the action system from the information system. So in my case, this would be Heptabase and Todoist, all right? Or ClickUp when it comes to project management, but we look at this later. So now you see already the triage that I'm doing here. I have this amazing video that I'm come across. I come to this inbox, maybe even on the same day, okay? And then I check the video and I realize, oh no, it's actually not that interesting. This intermediate step will get rid of a lot of clutter already, because you realize that something that was amazing in the first place is irrelevant in the next moment, the next day, and so on. And this helps you to move it out and say, okay, it wasn't that interesting. But if it is interesting, I want to watch this, I move it into the action system, and therefore I plan it out. How do I plan this out? I plan it out using Sansama, which is my planner application. I get this amazing video, I move it into my inbox. The same day, the next day maybe, I'm checking the inbox, and then I triage the elements from the inbox into the other places. And by the way, the email inbox works exactly the same way. And then there's a third option, directly process it inside the inbox. Maybe it's a 3-minute video, I directly watch it there, that's it, okay? That might be also an option. But if it really takes time, I move it into action, which is then on my Todoist or even ClickUp, and then I plan it out against my time restrictions. Now it becomes really interesting. How do I control my inbox? That's something people don't get. But before we get there, I want to show you this picture again in comparison. Before that, I had to think about where to place it and organize it. Is it an action or not? Mixing things up with action and organization all in one tool. This is what clutters up our brains, and that's what we need to get rid of. We need to eat the elephant piece by piece. So now that's what I explained to you. We have the capture process. It goes into the inbox, and here I have the reader as another example for outer world and shallow information that I don't want to clutter up my PCAM. You see, once you get the understanding, you will appreciate to have more tools for certain types of information. I just brought this in for an example. And obviously, if there's any information that I perfectly know where it needs to go in my PCAM system, then I skip the inbox step if I have the time, and I move it directly into the final destination. I don't want to add additional work if it is not necessary. And now you see even further steps. I mentioned already Todoist, but also the agenda list inside ClickUp might be a place to put it where I want to discuss this with the team in our weekly agenda meeting, right? So I don't want to interrupt the team with an amazing idea that I just saw there. They need to keep working on what they're working on. I clearly process this, realize, is it really worth talk about? And then I move it into that agenda meeting to then discuss this. And that's how you stay in control of this too, without interrupting other people. If I would have shown you this initially, you would say, man, that's overly complex. But I think by the step-by-step explanation, you might get a better idea why we are doing this. Now it's crystal clear where things are going. I'm no longer anxious whenever something comes at me, because I perfectly know, well, let's move into the inbox, call it a day. But the missing piece here is what many people miss. They might have the inbox step, but how do I stay in control of the inbox? That's as easy as adding a routine that ensures that the inbox gets processed every day. There's a daily routine in my Sansama, which is the planner where I have all the time restrictions, as I mentioned earlier. And in there, I have also the daily routine to process these inboxes. So you might think, oh, that's a lot of work and additional work. No, it's not, because if you're on top of your inbox all the time, there might be empty inbox. You know this already. You just check off the thing and call it a day. You don't even need to go there. That's something where your productivity system starts to run on autopilot and you're on top of everything. That's the upward spiral. That's the momentum that you're building when you have a proper system. But this way, now we have everything connected, okay? We have the routine that ensures that we process our inbox. If there is just reference material, it gets organized into the right place in your PKM system. If there are actionable items, I move them into my action systems, into the right places. And this gets back into Sansama where everything comes together. And then against my calendar, I will be able to plan out these actions. So bringing back the the video example, right? This is the process. I capture it and move it into my inbox, and it's out of my mind, and I can keep doing whatever else I was doing at the moment. But I can be sure that I won't forget about the video, because my daily routine will remind me to process the inbox and check it. And I have a process behind this that makes it easy to process, because it's crystal clear where things are going. There's no point of having an inbox and then you don't know what to do with these items. But I know, based on the My Life concept, does this go into my key elements? Is it related to any of my topics? And I organize this in my PKM system accordingly. Or if I need to watch this video, then I might keep it here and just make the action in my action system and simply link back to the item inside the PKM. So this means instead of moving it directly to the action system, I keep the reference, the information here, and just add the action here. So I don't start adding information into my tool system. So that's the way I would always do it. So I have it in here, and the same applies for the agenda meeting. So now you see I have created a single source of truth for my information, and then I can make action by simply referencing back. So I use the URL that goes to this node, and I place it inside the description of Todoist, or in the description of the task. And with one click of a button, the moment I need to take action, I will go to the reference and watch it. Obviously, again, if you just want to watch the video, you don't know if this is relevant or not, you can also add the video link directly to Todoist. That's all possible, but that's something, once you get the overview of all this, you will make informed decisions how to do it the proper way. You see the action that I created here feeding back into my planner application, where I then plan out the day against my calendar, the time restrictions that I actually have. When do I have time to watch a 2-hour video, right? So that's why the loop is closed, and I'm in control of all the scattered information, but I'm also in control of organizing and retrieving the information later on very well. So I hope this gave you some insights for your specific use case. Let me know in the comments below how you handle the capturing process and the organization process of your information, and how do you take action out of this. The things I showed you in the video is high level. It goes a lot deeper. It's all based on our ICOR methodology that you can learn inside our membership. So if you're really serious about this and you found this video helpful already, then you will master your productivity system by going through the ICOR journey. So I welcome you to join us. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so I can catch you up in the next one.